1923 Season 2 Review. I wish we could spend 10 seasons with Yellowstone's high-stakes Western spinoff after an excellent return. I have to preface this by saying I never watched Yellowstone. I decided to go through the franchise in chronological order, so the prequel spinoff shows were my first gateway into the franchise, and what a treat was waiting for me. Of the two, 1883 and 1923, the latter was the one I loved the most. 1923 did a phenomenal job of exploring how the Dutton family did during the Prohibition era, with a solid ensemble of characters. 1923 Season 2's cast brings most of them back, anchored by strong performances from Harrison Ford, Helen Mirren, and Brandon Sklenar. 1923 Season 1 ended with a few major events. Spencer and Alexandra were forced to separate, which I hated to see happen, and the Dutton family had to brace for a winter that promised to be quite harsh. Adding to it, Timothy Dalton's Donald Whitfield paid off the Dutton ranch's debt, which means if Ford's Jacob Dutton does not find a way to raise enough money to pay him back before the time to do so expires, the Duttons will lose their home to the mining tycoon. 1923 Season 2 continues those high-stakes stories to great effect. In true Game of Thrones fashion, winter was coming when we last saw the Yellowstone spin-off series. 1923 Season 2 fully tackles how that changes life at the ranch and presents some unexpected challenges. On a technical aspect, it allows the show to soar. One of my favorite parts of the series is just how gorgeous it looks. There is a very cinematic feel to 1923, with nature playing a key role in the show and motivating many of its characters. Winter paints Montana's backdrops white and offers truly compelling visuals. That said, it is not all pretty. Snowstorms and more dangers are lurking in the vicious season, which allows the show to explore whether the Duttons are really cut for that kind of life amid all the issues they are facing. In the first 3 episodes of Season 2 I watched for review, those questions are explored in quite a few different ways. I was surprised to see how many new problems could come out of the winter setting, and I truly think it changes the show for good, offering exciting new obstacles for the Duttons. The snowy Montana is not the only location we explore in 1923 Season 2. After we last saw them at the end of Season 1, Spencer and Alexandra were separated. The couple is my favorite duo in the series, so it is very interesting to watch as they start their journeys towards meeting each other in very different locations and conditions. I loved how their journeys balance the show's visuals with exciting scenarios. It feels like they exist in a world completely separate from what the Duttons are experiencing back home. As with Season 1, I can't help but praise the cast. The show did a phenomenal job here, and Season 2 delves even deeper into the characters after the first season set them up perfectly. One of the most intriguing players on the show is Donald Whitfield. Season 1 showed how much of a ruthless and scary character he is. However, Season 2 makes him even worse, and it's compelling to watch Dalton, who brings such wickedness to the villain with such a contained demeanor instead of using outbursts to lash out. Mirren's Cara Dutton remains the rock of the family. She takes control of adverse situations and alternates between a strong persona and moments of vulnerability that make her a compelling and well-rounded character. In interviews about the show, Mirren has talked about how co-star Harrison Ford had a change in his acting in the past few years, and it opened a new door to his inner feelings. That statement could not be more correct. After an outstanding performance in Season 1, Ford chews up the scenery every time he appears in Season 2. Jacob puts his life on the line to help his family, which allows Ford to deliver emotional performances throughout Season 2's first few episodes. I'd be remiss not to mention Brandon Sklenar as Spencer Dutton and Julia Schladfer as Alexandra. Separated at the end of Season 1, The characters must each find their way back to each other in Montana, just like they promised. Skluner's performance as Spencer is nuanced, with the beast of a man displaying a lot of heart. As for Schlaffer, she shines in some of this season's most dramatic moments. 1923 Season 2's start is sublime. When 1923 returned for its second season, it did so with the thundering force of a cattle stampede and the emotional complexity of a Shakespearean tragedy. Taylor Sheridan's gripping prequel to Yellowstone might be set a century in the past, but its themes, land, legacy, loyalty, and loss, feel more urgent than ever. And if Season 1 was the warning shot, Season 2 has proven to be the full-blown gunfight. It's cinematic, tragic, epic in scope, yet intimate in detail. It's the kind of show that makes you wish television had room for 10 seasons of this dusty, dangerous, and deeply human frontier saga. Season 2 wastes no time re-immersing us in the brutal world of the Duttons, and it hits the ground running. The stakes are higher, the enemies bolder, and the cost of survival even steeper. With every grim snowfall and sun-scorched mile of Montana land, the Duttons are fighting battles on multiple fronts, legal, moral, and physical. The conflict between tradition and modernity looms large, and no one embodies that struggle more than Jacob and Kara Dutton, played to perfection once again by Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. Ford, despite being a legend in the game, somehow digs even deeper this season. His Jacob is older, wearier, more aware of his own mortality. The look in his eye says, "I'm still standing, but for how long?" His every word carries weight, and every decision feels like a move in a deadly chess match to keep the Dutton legacy alive. Mirren's Kara, meanwhile, continues to be the emotional backbone of the show. She is both iron-willed and heartbreakingly vulnerable. A matriarch who's lost more than most and still finds the strength to keep her fractured family together. Watching her navigate grief, violence, and the slow burn of age is nothing short of masterful. But 1923 isn't just about the elders. Season 2 expands its canvas to give us deeper arcs for Spencer and Alexandra, whose whirlwind romance and perilous journey back to Montana were highlights of Season 1. Their chemistry remains electric, but what's more satisfying is watching them settle into the harsh realities of their ranching life. Spencer, a warrior still haunted by war, and Alexandra, a woman torn between freedom and responsibility, are tested in ways neither could have imagined. Their love feels earned, weathered by hardship, and it's one of the emotional anchors of the season. Elsewhere, Tana Rainwater's storyline continues to be a harrowing but essential part of the narrative. Her escape from the horrors of the boarding school system and her fight for survival remind viewers that the frontier was just as cruel to Native Americans as it was to settlers. The writing gives her story the dignity it deserves, refusing to look away from the systemic violence of the time. Amina Neves delivers a gut-wrenching, powerful performance, and her character's arc feels like both a reclamation of identity and a reclamation of power. Visually, 1923 is simply breathtaking. The landscapes feel like characters themselves: snow-draped pines, scorched prairie, the vast, unforgiving sky. The cinematography is so rich and immersive that you can almost smell the horses and feel the tension in the air. Whether it's a quiet funeral scene or a bloody skirmish, the camera never flinches. And the sound design, wind whistling through canyons, distant gunshots, hooves on gravel, grounds every scene in tangible realism. But what elevates 1923 above other period dramas is its layered storytelling. This isn't just a series about cowboys and cattle rustlers. It's a story about the cost of empire, about the ghosts that linger when blood is spilled for land. It's about family in the broadest sense, the ones we're born into, the ones we build, and the ones we lose along the way. There's a mournful quality to the season, as if everyone on screen knows that their way of life is vanishing, even as they fight tooth and nail to preserve it. And still, there is room for tenderness. A quiet dance in the candlelight. A letter read aloud by the fire. A shared glance that says, "I see you. I've always seen you." These human moments are what make 1923 feel not just like prestige television, but vital, heartfelt storytelling.